Good morning, or good afternoon. In this video I'll be discussing Isaac Asimov's series of short stories and novellas pertaining to robots, and in particular the artificial intelligence portrayed within. Featured in the collections I, Robot and The Complete Robot, Robbie is the story of a little girl's relationship with a robot and society's reaction to this relationship. Ever experience or emulate the same kind of humanity that Robbie within a story, gives off? Could robots become conscious? Could they feel pain, like as what happens in the story? Can they feel emotions, physical pain, all that kind of thing, which I'll explore now. Pain has sort of been synthesized in robots, sort of programmed. And this isn't human pain, it's not chemical, electrical impulses from the brain to the nervous system when stimuli doesn't quite agree with us, when we touch something hot or something sharp pierces our skin. Rather, it's like a sort of robot's anticipation or detection of abnormal function, less than ideal state, damage to hardware, sensors, all that thing. And in this one particular study, it was joint pain that was sort of synthesized when a robot moved in a harmful sort of position. They sort of detected a sense of, this less than ideal state, and this is sort of the equivalent of pain so far in robots, which comes with self-preservation in the interest of trying to program a robot to know how to better understand their environment and what could harm them and humans. And, they'll learn to anticipate actions which cause this sort of pain. And this sort of matches up with Robbie, the robot in the story, in that he sort of fears being hurt by Gloria, who, sort of jokingly threatens to hurt him, being a little kid and somewhat volatile, But is it accurate? As we've seen, it's not quite likely that a little child could, damage a robot or cause this sort of pain, this sort of synthetic pain of detection of less than ideal functioning and structure. But, maybe the pain was more emotional. And that brings us to our next point. Could a robot ever feel emotions? Could they ever be conscious? And just before I begin to explore that, consciousness is a state of, detection, awareness of the environment that, yes, well, I'll get more. Probably not. Now, while studies have shown that robots can be programmed to simulate emotions, a state of consciousness itself is highly unlikely, as the science behind human consciousness is way too complex, way too complicated to reverse engineer, to sort of replicate the processes which lead to human consciousness and then apply them to a robotic, system. Because unlike humans, robots cannot yet interpret sort of two different concepts together. And this is one part of consciousness, for example, that roboticists cannot quite emulate or replicate. Say for instance, they see a red triangle, they'll just see the color red, or they'll see the triangular shape. They can't quite merge those two concepts together like humans can, or even animals. Their consciousness isn't really possible yet. In the distant future, who knows? But as such, it's not possible. And in the story, it's set sometime in the 21st century, so it's highly unlikely that we'll have robots as conscious as Robbie, let alone robots that can develop their own taste in, stories or friendships with humans. But are relationships with robots possible on the other end? And what I mean by that is it likely that humans will it'll be socially acceptable to have friendships and emotional dependence and reliance on artificial intelligence? As seen with Gloria and Robbie in the story. I mean, it already sort of has, I guess, if you look at it. I mean, we all have encountered sort of artificial intelligence systems like Cortana, Siri. A worldwide study has shown that 84% of people reported that they could not live without their phones. Go outside, go to the train station, everyone's on their devices. And depending on who you talk to, that's a good or a bad thing. But the point is, we've already got such a strong emotional dependence on technology so far that if it were to evolve to be more human and we could mass produce and commercially sell robots that resembled humans and could replicate or synthesize, simulate, that's what I'm trying to say, simulate emotions, then who's to say we wouldn't form one-way friendships with them? Thank you for watching.